whole like casting couch of like actors and screen. You know, like when a director's like, "You want to be in show business, darling." It's that.
No, that's not.
But instead of it being insidious, the porn industry is just like, "Oh, we can make a porn of this."
Okay.
Everyone understands it's a terrible thing, but if we make it fun and do porn of it, it breathes new life into a terrible concept.
I feel like it just makes an average concept terrible.
What do you mean average?
Oh, you
It's
said.
not an average concept, is it?
Well, casting couch, isn't it talking about actors? What's wrong with that?
Because they get preyed upon by directors.
So it's better they get preyed upon directors than.
No. I'm saying that the porn thing, the porn it's a parody of that concept.
Yeah, I'm
So that
following.
so because they make a parody of it, they're bringing to light that everyone understands what the original intention of what a casting couch is. That a director's like, "Hey, you want to be in show business? You gotta do something for me first." And then they be like, "Hey, you help me, I'll help you." And then they do a thing for the director in a sexual context.
Why would that
Usually-
be filmed?
It's the whole casting couch in the Hollywood sense. It's never filmed.
Right.
It's a backroom dealing thing.
Right.
People who want to be in showbiz, like they'll prey on like young women or people just like even young
like
men.
Harvey
Happened to
Weinstein.
Brendan Fraser.
Aww.
That's why he doesn't get cast anymore, because he said no.
I like Brendan.
Because he wouldn't touch Brett Weinstein's penis.
That's exactly right.
Them are the rules.
That's right. So it's a parody of that, but instead of it being, "Oh, this person's being forced into it because their hopes and dreams rely on performing fellatio on some old dude or giving them
Felch.
risky felch."
Felch. Yeah, I learnt about felching
I don't
From
know
work.
what's felching.
from okay, so apparently it's when you when two homosexual men have sex, and so one person is cleaning out their back passage of semen with their mouth.
Isn't that
Licking
just-
a butthole.
Isn't that just eating ass?
You know, it's eating ass, but then there's the cleanup. So
Oh.
felching's like the cleanup.
Oh,
actually.
that's
Your
there's
tongue.
it. So it's like, "Oh, we're all done. Hey,
Yeah.
can you just clean up a little
Yeah.
bit?"
What's wrong with toilet paper?
What's wrong with toilet paper? Well, when you're a human straw. Yum.
You know when you have like a chocolate frappe or like a thick shake and you
Stop,
have a bit of
just-
ice.
Yeah.
Stop!
It's
Yes,
that.
I just
It's
did that.
Yeah, you go.
Stop!
Nugget of shit.
What if they're like trying to be like, for the environment, trying to save paper, save the trees? That's probably why they're doing it too. Also they're saving on nutrients too, because they're just returning it back to the
That's
system.
exactly right. There's still a little bit of nutrients in that shit. Left like tiny.
Tiny little
Stop.
bit.
But it
Yeah.
wasn't just shit, there was semen.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Some protein, some sugar.
Jeez, did they get lost?
The semen get lost.
Yeah, were they trying to find their ship?
I believe so.
Oh no, it's terrible. Hope they end up finding it.
Gosh.
The SS Dickus. Anyway, this is episode something.
Thanks for watching.
I don't know what episode we're
This is
on.
actually the last episode.
This is the last episode.
Get cancelled.
Yeah, nah.
Yeah.
Well, somehow we're getting
I'm
taken
behind the
off.
mic, so I'm.
Huh?
I'm
You're,
behind
you're
the mic.
fine.
So now, are you fully across on the whole cast
Yes.
thing?
Yeah.
Yep.
There's no black man behind you, just blind, so that's fine. So I don't know what we usually talk. Well, generally we usually have a topic, but in the last few ones, there's just been catch-ups really.
Yeah, then catch up.
You should
and
have some
sort of-
questions ready.
Well, they're all in my head. My questions generally become the existential crisis sort of situation,
Good.
but we won't go straight there. We'll just.
We should
end-
get to that
I
at the
like
end.
existentialism.
Huh? Do you?
You like existentialism?
I like talking about it.
Okay.
We'll talk about it afterwards. We'll just start with some memes or two.
Okay.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So how you been, Courtney?
Yeah.
So where you from?
I exist.
Yeah.
Or do I?
Or do you?
Well, we know where she's from.
Yeah. She's
You're from Port Victoria.
Port Victoria / New South Wales.
Slash
Do you know where I was born?
Huh?
Yep, Port Victoria, New South Wales.
No.
Yep,
Where was I born?
I know. Okay, look, alright. Alright. Good, we're gonna get something across. This podcast, this
No,
university.
no, no. Where was I born?
I just
Just a
let
friend.
me do this.
You know,
I
you've
know
known
where
me
you
10
were
years.
born.
Okay, where?
You were in
What
Queensland.
state? What city?
Oh fuck. Fucking. I know you were born in
Same as
Queensland.
Caitlin.
Oh, what?
Same as Caitlin.
You're born in Queensland.
Yeah, he knows.
But-
He's dated
no,
Caitlin for
but
like
you're-
a day.
But you're from Board Victoria / New South
Yeah.
Wales.
That's where this universe operates. We live in Board Victoria / New South Wales.
You don't know what it's called.
Yeah, Board
But
Victoria
you're mouthing
/ New
it to
South
him.
Wales. Cody, I understand
No, but you.
where you come from.
No, you
come
don't.
from the land up there, right? You come from
Whereabouts?
fucking Queensland.
Whereabouts?
Oh,
in Queensland?
Townsville.
Yes. And I
Okay.
know you told him.
Thank you.
Okay.
When did he tell me?
You
Exactly
would've
what
been
I'm going to tell him.
What?
Can't trust anyone in this room.
I don't trust you.
Alright, one of us is being gaslit. And I don't know who it is.
I think you're all being gaslit right now.
I think it's like, I'm doing it to you, you're doing it to me,
Yeah.
you're doing it to me.
I'm offended
Yeah.
that you think I didn't know where you...
I'm offended that you stalled for 10 minutes till you remembered.
I'm trying to get across that we live in
Yes.
Board Victoria / New South Wales.
I'm thinking she gets it.
Where was I born?
Oh no, the dirt. I'm kidding. Yeah, I know, we just said it, so it wasn't gonna.
I listened.
Where was I born? Courtney?
You were born in Crane.
Was I born in Korea? Was I born in Korea?
Yeah.
Or was I born in Kundruk?
Yeah, but isn't that
Kundruk's
in
a nice
the
place to
same...
camp too.
I was there...
Isn't Crane in Kundruk?
No,
Mm.
that'd be a town within a town.
Well,
Fun
Red
fact,
Bull is in Mildura, technically.
but it's a different town.
But it's in Mildura.
It's on the outside of Mildura.
Yeah, okay, when you're talking suburbs...
Do you mean some region?
Mildura Rural City Council,
I thought we got
all of it is in
anger
Mildura.
out. This is currently...
This is not gonna work.
But we're currently in Board Victoria
Yeah.
/ New South Wales.
Slash, yeah.
Wait, is it filming?
Yeah.
Filming?
It has been for like the
You
past
looked at the camera and went,
7
Yeah,
minutes.
but the mic is right there.
Oh,
Yeah,
true,
no,
true,
I
true.
I can't actually see the numbers.
Yeah, we went through the whole
You know
poll
what?
thing and everything.
You know what? Let's leave it.
Just-
Yeah.
Well, it's not live, is it?
No, it's not live.
This is on Facebook Live.
Yeah,
Ha ha ha. Just stop it. We'll
Oh,
start
sorry,
again.
Metaverse.
I didn't know we were actually filming.
yeah. But this is how it works.
Yeah.
No, turn off the start again.
Why?
Guys!
You're trying to be professional.
I think it's
Yes!
fun. This is what professional people do,
Yeah.
just edit it.
Yeah, we'll just edit it out. It's fine.
Yeah.
Promise.
It's
No!
It's fine. We'll figure that out
Yeah.
afterwards. Why not? It's
Well, you can't even see me.
yeah, no. And it's
Do you want to do a fresh start? Do you want to go
Yes.
from here?
Fuck, that's somebody.
Is that Caitlin?
This is
I didn't know that was...
Hey.
Someone I don't know.
Hey, Matt from the future, just so you know, right now you're answering the phone or looking at the phone, and we just want to say that we love you.
And we're sorry for fighting. Or are we not?
Try to call me this time.
Just, can I answer it?
No, it's gotta be work. I'm just
Can
gonna
I-
ignore it.
Can you come in earlier?
Probably, it's probably gonna say.
Yeah.
And the answer will be
No.
no.
Okay, I'm ready and I'm gonna
Caitlin's here, yucky.
be professional now.
She's here?
Yeah, she's
Oh
opening
my
the door now.
god.
She's probably sliding something.
Good.
I loved just like sending her a snap and knowing that she would just look at me and be like, that's Matt's dog, what the heck? Just love stirring.
Just love the stirring of
Love
the
the
pot.
stir.
Yes.
Katie. Hitler! Bonjour. Hitler!
Sounded like a very tired Frenchman.
Bonjour. It's still filming. I'm just gonna stop it.
Yes.
This has been 10 minutes of crap.
That's thought anthology. We're
No, it's
recording.
gotta be an actual thought. It's not even
No, they are thoughts. An anthology being the collection of ideas, and
Yeah,
thought
on,
being
man.
fucking anything.
But yeah, a
Crack
thought is
like it.
anything.
Yeah, I know.
But I don't want
No,
people to
we're
listen to me
living
just
the
being
dream.
annoyed at me.
What are you guys doing?
Look, I have like 15
what?
subscribers.
What about?
That's it.
Anything.
Yeah, but don't you want
We-
more?
And I also
So-
have about I think I have like 100 on
Anything.
Facebook.
Come give
Followers.
us.
Yeah.
There's not that many people.
But don't you want more?
Do I want more?
Don't you want to put
Look.
quality out there, not this?
You do know that like people love this shit.
Yeah.
Like, people doing like
There are podcast
Okay, can
empires
I
that built
just?
upon
People love this
talking
shit. I have
Yeah.
15 followers. Do you hear the?
No, but-
somewhere here, there's something missing.
and also it's about my creativity, not yours, Courtney.
I don't actually know what bit you're laughing at.
I'm really enjoying this.
We've already started. It's too late.
Oh,
I'll let it
It's the
okay,
fact that
we'll
I
just start
didn't
again.
know
Ready?
we
Just
were
stay
going.
silent. Everyone silent.
Courtney,
Yes.
when you start something, let's say you draw a line. Let's say Leonardo drew a line.
Am I Leonardo?
You're Leonardo at the start of his career. First thing he did. Do you think people were gonna go fucking insane over the first line?
Not first. Obviously.
This is the start.
Okay, but
This is the start.
the line was full of potential. The potential for everything he did was in the line.
Are you saying that this
I
doesn't have...
I don't
but
feel
also
like-
this is just Leonardo before Leonardo knew like anyone. This is just Leonardo fucking around in his backyard.
How old are we talking? Like 12-year-old Leo?
Like 20-year-old Leo.
20? He'd
Yeah,
done some
he's
stuff
got
by
syphilis
20.
or something by now.
He
Is
had
it-
done some things by 20.
Did he?
Yeah.
What did he do?
He...
Drew a line. Do you want to sit?
No.
You don't want...
Absolutely
Do you
not.
want to sit on that side?
The
or- 'cause you don't want
Enneagram
to-
Type 1 doesn't want to be associated with this informal, non-perfect...
You are hurting that right now.
Oh, you're really not.
You
Really
are.
not.
No, I'm just being...
This is how I envision
I love
everything.
this.
Is actually just to watch you argue with Callan.
We're not arguing.
No, we're not.
I think everyone's taking turns arguing.
I think
Yeah.
I like it. It's quite nice.
Yeah.
It's quite pleasant.
Are we going to do a fresh restart? Do you want to keep...
I thought that was a fine start.
Look, we can do a fresh restart if you want, but so it's fine.
Yeah.
That's right.
Okay.
So we can just stop.
Coming to you, pre-recorded from Board Victoria / New South Wales. Why would you touch my feet?
There's a
Big
fly on
dead
it.
fly in it. And I tried to
There's
get
a
it
big
off.
dead fly on my foot.
There was, and I
Well.
tried to get it off, but it just stuck to my finger. So I freaked out.
Welcome to Thought Anthology, episode 17.
We're just gonna guess at 17.
I'm pretty sure it's 17.
That's
We've
my
done
favourite
quite
number.
a few
Yeah,
episodes.
we have
I'm
done a
sure
few.
it's
Yeah, I'm gonna say 17.
Yeah,
All grown up can drink a little bit.
a little bit.
A little bit. You get a little
A
drink.
little bit.
Fish and chips on a Friday
Oh,
night.
I haven't had fish and chips for ages.
Fishies
Fishies
and
and chippies.
Fishies and chippies.
Fishies and chippies. Anyway, hi Courtney.
Hey Matt, thanks for having me.
Yeah, now this is real fake. Anywho, where are you from?
I am from Townsville, Queensland,
Oh, yep.
and but
When did you move to Port Victoria? So that's New South Wales.
I was 2 years old.
Okay, fair enough.
2 years old.
Mhm.
Holy
It was a
shit.
big trek for my little legs.
Did you alone? Did you move alone? Did you?
Oh yeah.
You went from Townsville.
She crawled all the way
Yeah.
from Townsville to here.
Well, I could
Yeah.
walk by then.
Yeah,
thank
she
you.
was
I
doing
hopped-
That's
those
it.
toddler
Quick
walks.
developer.
I was already sick of my fam.
Yeah.
I just.
So by the time you got here to Port Victoria,
I was actually 5.
you
so
had
that's a bit-
jacked legs. You were jacked. You were
Yeah.
looking like you were bench press. Oh, what's that?
I-
What's the leg?
Leg
Squatting.
press.
You were
Yeah.
squatting.
Squatting.
Oh yeah, leg press. That's the one.
Yeah,
was
I
saying.
left when I was 2. When I arrived,
Yeah.
I was 5. So I just walked straight onto school grounds.
Why did
Yeah.
it take you
First
that
day.
long to
Have
get
you?
there?
I mean, driving will take
3
you
days.
about 21 hours probably. So walking as a
Is that
toddler.
non-stop?
Yeah, non-stop. So walking did take me from I was 2 to 5.
Yeah.
Because we're talking walking like in terms of kilometers an hour, like 0.6.
Yeah, and you forget the Wedgetail Eagle story as well in between that trip.
Oh, true. That's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
where she ate.
Wedgetail Eagle. Yeah.
Gained its power of flight. Didn't
Yeah.
use it though. Why didn't you use it?
Girl gets hungry, but girl not too smart. Yeah.
Yeah. No, good shit.
Yeah.
Good shit. Yep.
Yeah.
And now that you're here in Port Victoria / New South Wales, you know, what do you do with yourself?
Oh boy, I teach some high schoolers how to use a kayak. I teach them how to work in teams, doing
Yeah.
outdoor games activities.
Yep.
Take them on expeditions, hikes,
Mm.
camps.
Yep.
It's fun stuff. Yeah, I really love it. Mm.
What's your favourite part about it?
When there's like kids who are super smart alecky and then they think they know so they don't listen and then they capsize.
Ah, those are my favourite kids.
It's a very pointed look.
Yeah, I don't capsize.
You almost did last week.
Wow, tell us.
Oh, she put me in a triathlon.
Oh,
Yeah, that
wasn't it in a
triathlon.
really dodgy kayak as well?
Yeah, really dodgy
Yeah.
kayak, kind of. I tell you
I was
what,
like, why does Courtney so
I
much?
fucking
about
hate
this?
speedboats.
Oh, that's right. She put the kayak through my window.
But not the dodgy one. I put the good one through the window. You got to damage
I've got
the
to
good
pressure
one.
wash that kayak now. It's got full of spiders. Mine, that is, yeah.
Why?
It's because it's been sitting there for a while.
Oh.
I haven't taken it for a paddle.
What if you got like a...
A body of water of some description.
No. Well, yeah, I suppose, yeah, that probably work. Can't put it in your bath, though.
No, definitely
Not gonna fill the bath.
Oh, that'd be hilarious. I'll put it in a bathtub.
I'm gonna sail to the new world.
The shower comes on and it's raining. Acid rain.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No, I was gonna say, why don't you get like a bit of wood or like a trash bag, tape it, cover the hole to which you're sitting.
I actually make like a hull cover. Like you have with cars, but with a kayak. Yeah, I could probably do that. That's a good idea. Yeah.
Because that would probably save you
Do you not have a cover
the stress
for
of finding a redback in there while you're swimming.
Yeah, true.
Have
But
like-
that's why we've got a
Swimming.
pressure wash, so I'm gonna fucking sorry, blast that thing and get all the spiders out of there.
Yeah, nice.
That's the plan.
Just fill it with poison. I'm sure that won't affect your kayaking.
No, I won't. Just inhale it and die out the river.
You start seeing giant water spiders under the
And a
water.
Murray cod coming out from it.
I mean, if you get bit by a spider, what, we're already up to 3 Spider-Mans. They could probably have a 4th.
Oh look, I think I'd be the best Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I would not help anyone. I'd be very selfish. I'd be like trying to get places.
All 4 of them, you like meet up like, oh, I don't want to
Yeah.
spoil. I don't want to spoil.
You
I
just
haven't
did.
Oh,
By saying that you just
Courtney, it's too late.
It's in the
now.
trailer anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
We have to
Everyone
go.
knows not to watch a
Has
trailer.
Everyone
Someone-
knows that there is.
Everyone has seen it, yeah? You've seen it?
Oh, I haven't
I've
seen
seen
it
it.
yet. I want to go
Oh
see
my
it.
God,
Don't worry.
I saw it twice at the cinema.
Really? Is it really good?
It's good.
Oh, good.
So you two haven't seen it?
No, we're gonna go
You
see
need-
it soon.
Okay.
We need to go.
So it's
Saturday?
not. It's not a
Let's
spoiler
go
that they're
Saturday.
in it.
Huh?
I'll come. It's not. Oh, I
You'll
might.
come. I know
if
you.
I'm here, I
If
might
you're
not be
here.
here.
Yeah.
We'll see.
I'm gonna go see them now.
Oh, don't talk about it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sad.
Don't
about it.
talk about
Bullshit that you moved back. Now I'm
it.
going.
No.
I could have been your crutch, your support mate.
I needed that last
For a
year. Where were
broken
you?
leg. I was calling you.
Wait.
We'll talk. Hey, we'll talk soon. Okay. 7 months later.
That's adult life. Come on.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, in the distance is Caitlin as well.
I've been talking quietly so the mic doesn't pick me
It
up.
probably has picked you up already.
But now it has.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hello.
That's her hand.
Just her hand, but not her face.
It also looks like the hand of God because of the amount of light.
Oh yeah.
Or like someone come from another dimension.
Is that
Oh,
Right. To
true.
the point. The connecting point.
Well, that would be blasphemous. I wouldn't want to do that.
Hey. Wait, it looked like we touched, but we were like a foot away.
Yeah.
Professional.
Effects.
True. So what topics do you like to talk about?
I like a good bit of philosophy.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
sounds like a bit of fun.
She
Like,
likes philosophy,
who's
English,
your
banter,
favourite
bullying.
philosopher?
Drama.
Bullying
Drama.
Drama.
You guys should do an improv scene.
Oh, that
Improv
would
We
be
scene.
don't have
fun.
the room for it.
Improv.
That would be okay.
We don't have the room for it.
Oh, we could just move the laptop back.
Guys, I'm sorry, but I'm dying when I look at the screen because the mic looks like an enormous microphone in front of Courtney.
Oh no, we made a worse reference earlier.
Oh my gosh. Okay, yeah.
So, yeah, we're talking about casting couch. You know all about that?
No.
Oh, it's okay. You're too innocent.
Yeah.
It's a porn thing, Caitlin.
Oh.
Oh, hang on. If we explain it to Courtney, I feel like we should explain it to Caitlin.
No.
I feel like we should.
Yeah,
Oh.
Caitlin, would you want to?
I'm glad my reaction's not in it.
Okay.
Maddie boy.
So, I'm going to try to. I'm basically going to paraphrase what Callum was telling to Courtney, really, because it's basically the same information I'm conveying. That you know how, like in Hollywood, to get actresses to get a role in a movie, sometimes they have to do some deeds, such as flit belching.
Harvey Weinstein kind of stuff.
Yeah. So in the porn industry, there's like a fantasy setup where like a girl's on a couch and and she gets asked, "Would you do anything?" And generally they say yes because they're paid to do it. And there's usually like 5 black men standing right behind. Well, that's the meme anyway.
There's also that's the meme.
That's my favourite meme.
I was like, well,
pretty
that's what I've been searching.
It's horrible
But like
and messy.
the key
You could have left it horrible.
the key difference with the porn version of it is that the woman knows why she's there, and she's happy to be there. She's like, I came here for a reason. I want to be here. Let's go, right? That's all I want to do.
Yeah.
Whereas in
She's probably
Hollywood,
making lots of money.
Vital information.
There's a key
I wouldn't
difference.
say that I've
There is.
really read a lot of different
Okay, so we're back to
philosophers.
philosophy again. Okay.
Yeah, so I'd be keen to hear
Yeah?
what you're
Like,
into.
name a few that you know that you have you read any at all? Or?
Yeah, I've read a little bit,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't be like, oh, I know about all the different ones, but just, no. I mean, when I did a bit of Latin...
Did you say Caillou?
It's Carl Jung.
Carl Jung.
Oh, Carl Jung.
But also,
Caillou. The ultimate philosophy of Caillou.
You know,
I'm just
give
gonna
me the
sing this-
board kid from
Yeah.
yeah.
TV.
He's just a kid that's small. Each
Yeah.
day he grows some more.
Have you seen this? Have you seen the sequel, One Punch Man?
No.
Oh god, that's a good. Yeah, it's a good segue.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
I've read a bit of Nietzsche.
Yeah.
And yeah, we did bits and pieces of
Yeah,
Plato and translating Aristotle.
Oh, cool.
And I did some Latin.
I love Nietzsche.
But yeah.
I could talk about Nietzsche.
Mm.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
because I'm like an angsty teen
Yeah.
all the time.
There's just nothingness.
Yeah, that's not really what he was saying. Oh, well, I don't know.
That was
It's
the
actually-
angsty teen
It's
translation.
actually, yeah, true. It's actually really subjective what he talks about, like the concept of God being dead, that sort of thing.
Mm.
Yeah. Have you heard, like, you've been through all that sort of stuff with him?
No.
No, basically, like, that phrase comes from whenever Nietzsche was around, when atheism was coming quite prominent.
Yeah.
And so, when he says God is dead, he doesn't mean that, like, the increase of atheism is making God dead. It's actually that the death of God is actually causing the death of civilization. Because it actually gives no meaning to the people.
Mm.
Because once God is dead, there's no meaning.
That's right. And a lot of people who would analyze that took a lot of different aspects from that. Like
Yeah.
what you touched on, how some people think that it's the death of like organized religion and the rise of atheism and stuff like that. People took that concept from it. They took what Nietzsche was actually going for and other ones as well. It's crazy that someone like Nietzsche who can develop that idea of, you know, and that phrase that God is dead, people take so much from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he didn't mean that as a thing of like celebration, like God is dead, let's celebrate. He actually meant that as like, that's the saddest thing that can happen to people, is that once you remove a supernatural ideal, you've taken away people's meaning to their lives. Because like, well, if there's nothing after death, then what's the point of my existence? That's generally where it comes to.
It's just interesting to me that he said that, because I wouldn't think of him as someone who wanted to champion the reason for a need to believe in God. So it sounds
What
like
makes you say that?
He, from my understanding, isn't very religious.
No, he's not.
So, you know, he's saying without God, civilization falls apart, and you just don't hear that argument a lot from someone who is an atheist.
Yeah. Well, that's because like he's following. The rationale for him is probably based upon like the evidence behind whether or not the prove or disprove there is a God, which you can or cannot prove there is or is not, unless it's from a subjective experience. And so for him, he would love to, like from what I'm interpreting, he would love the opportunity to believe in God, but he just doesn't, be based upon his own rationales.
Yeah.
And he sees that like it's actually really cruel to actually have a life without a God, but he can't believe in one because probably potentially feel like he's lying to himself, but based upon his own thoughts.
Yeah.
I don't know anything about this, but it sounds like he's talking more about people than about God. It's more of a...
Like the hope that people have.
Yeah. Sounds like it's based more around people.
But this is one aspect of the conversation of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Does that make sense? It's like, because you're saying like, it makes no sense because he's an atheist, he'd be saying that's a bad thing.
Well, it's not that he wouldn't be recognising reality. It's just, if someone doesn't believe in God, they usually don't want to bring up reasons for why believing God would be helpful.
Yeah.
Because they want to convince people, as most people do, of their own perspective.
Yeah. Is that based upon a modern interpretation?
It is what I'm saying, based upon a modern interpretation.
Yeah.
Probably more postmodern,
Yeah.
to be honest. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
Because like I'm thinking like there's a lot of influence behind that, because you do see a lot of atheists within our generation who act like that.
Yeah, I think people are less able to toy with ideas they don't agree with these days. It's like, I don't agree with this, I don't even want to discuss it with you.
Yeah.
It's not open for discussion.
People are just too set in their ways now. People
Yeah.
are too stubborn to even look at.
Where
the
it's
other side
like
of things.
he was open either way, and he came to the conclusion that God is dead.
Mm.
But it's the fact that he's talking about what if the reality of what I believe is true, and
Yeah.
I think that's admirable. So I think I like him.
Yeah, it's just it was actually absolutely insane in the end. Like he locked himself away in a tower and he died of like I think it was like syphilis or something. He died of like some horrible like some disease.
Everyone had it.
But like when he was like sick and psychotic, he'd run out to the street talking to horses and stuff.
Yeah, well,
I understand you, brother. That sort of shit.
he was
really
probably
weird.
on opium. They all were in that day.
No, probably just psychotic. When you're locked away by yourself writing in a book for a very long time, you don't become quite socially normal.
$200 he was on opium.
$200?
Yeah.
Alrighty. Oh, he was bound to have it in his lifetime.
Yeah, like
But at that point in time when he's like making out with a horse.
making out. See, that really took a.
They didn't
he
make out
was
with a
chatting. It got
horse.
sexual.
I just said that for comedic effect. It's not actually true.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's one aspect of nature anyway. So I'm assuming
Yeah.
then you're a religious person because you do go to church, of course. And stuff
I
like
do.
that.
Yeah, I am.
Are you happy to talk about that sort of stuff? Because
Yeah.
I love picking people's brains. Like
Go
that.
for it.
So-
Pick me apart.
So do you identify with a particular sect of religion? Like what sort of area? Is it Christian? Is it like subdivision? Like what are we going for?
Yeah, so in a general sense, Christian, but it's interesting that you bring up because there's so many different denominations, and I'm
Yeah.
actually really between at the moment.
Yeah.
I grew up in one denomination
Yeah.
and moved to a different city where a lot of people seem to have a different perspective of that denomination that I had. And so I started going to a different one, and now I'm finding aspects from what I was taught as a child I disagree with and
Yeah.
prefer the new church I'm in,
Okay.
but also questioning some things that they teach there.
Yeah.
And so I'm actually quite in between, and then I've been visiting a third denomination, like trying to figure out what aligns most closely with what I think the Bible teaches, but
Yeah.
it's really hard, and there's a lot of division within Christianity, which I find
Yeah.
just so sad.
Yeah.
That people want to argue so much instead of talking about what we have in common. So
Yeah.
I really can't narrow down a subdivision or denomination.
Okay.
It's
Alright.
hard. Yeah. Like I'm searching a lot. I'm quite
Yeah.
conflicted.
So I'm saying okay. I'm just trying to think about it for a moment. So when you're trying to find a subdivision, is that just to fit with your personal views, as in like, or how you said it was in the way you interpret the Bible?
Yeah, so I mean, the Bible's a big book. There's a lot in it, and it's not just rules. There's historical stories. There's
Yeah.
poetry. There's just recounts. There's proverbs or sayings. So there's lots
Yeah.
of different types of texts, or like styles of texts
Yeah.
in the Bible. And so some of them can be pretty tricky to
Yeah.
navigate. Like let's take Revelation. The whole thing is allegory.
Yeah.
And so it's like any piece of literature, what are you meant to make of it? Everyone has the different interpretations. So, different denominations, like let's say like Catholic and Baptist would
Yeah.
read the allegory differently.
Yeah.
And how you read it informs what you believe about God, about
Yeah.
end times, about heaven
Yeah.
and hell. And so I'm listening to what different theologians are saying
Yeah.
and trying to piece together what sounds true when I read.
Yeah.
You've got to provide evidence for how you interpret it.
Yeah.
And sometimes I hear an interpretation of the Bible and I'm like, that sounds like you're twisting the words a bit.
Yeah.
So it's just a lot of searching because we've got,
Yeah.
2,000 years
Yeah.
just from the New Testament alone of writing on it. And
Yeah.
from the Old Testament, thousands of years
Yeah.
of Christian philosophers talking about what these ideas and words and scriptures could mean.
Yeah.
So it's super tricky.
Yeah. So if it's so subjective, then why believe in it?
That's a great question. So that's a great question. Let me think about that. The Bible aside, to me, some aspects of our world that we live in, I would say appear to me pretty objective. So the fact that our world has a system of physics and science,
Yeah.
and the way that we claim that our world was created, Big Bang Theory, evolution, all
Yeah.
that, doesn't align with the physics of our world. So the fact that out of atoms and space flying around, there could somehow be order and structure and creation. For the whole time that our Earth has existed, we have never seen that same pattern again.
Yeah.
Things don't just create themselves in this world. It doesn't
Yeah.
happen. Something always comes from something else. So if our world came into being, accidentally, essentially,
It's just mum.
essentially that should continue happening. But that's not, you don't see that anywhere in creation. So how can that be the origin of our world if it doesn't function that way scientifically?
Yeah.
So to me, that would be an objective reason for why I believe in God as a creator.
Yeah.
And then because I believe in God, I'm not looking at much, so I'm keeping out of this.
You have a conversation with
That's right.
Yeah, but we're all in here together.
Yeah.
Because I objectively believe in God, then I believe in the scriptures which have some subjective
Okay.
interpretations.
Yeah.
Because I believe in God, if that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Okay. So you're saying you have an objective belief in God. So what do you use as proof? Are you using that to basically the function of the universe as proof?
That's probably one of the most objective reasons for me.
Yeah.
Some subjective reasons would be in personal religious experience. So
Yeah.
when I pray, I feel that God speaks to me.
Yeah.
When I am at church or in community with other Christians,
Yeah.
I feel His love, and I feel that sense of essentially supernatural.
Yeah.
So that would be my subjective reasoning for why it's not just a belief in why something I
Yeah.
really hold dear.
Yeah.
So that is quite subjective.
I kind of want to go back to the discussion of the universe and how everything comes together and stuff like that.
What are your thoughts on
My thoughts. So when it comes to most things, because I don't believe, and I'm not certain if there is or isn't.
Probably more agnostic then.
Yeah, I'm more agnostic than anything because it's realistically, if you want to go through methods of objectivity, it's this. I think it's called a false truth, where you have this, you can't prove or disprove it because one, it's people claim it's outer space and time. How do I prove that?
Yeah.
So I can only if I want to be honest and true to myself, the only way I can prove that something is real is by objective measurement, and so I can't quite trust my subjective interpretations because there are people out there who have mental health issues who will see things in certain ways that may or may not be true. But in their subjective reality it's true, but in the objective reality it's not.
Yes.
So it's the distinguishing between what is true is quite, if you want to go through the objective world, you can only go with what is measured and weighed.
So something like love that isn't objectively measurable, how do you come to terms with something like that?
Well, it could or could not be as well. But I feel the sensation of it. But then again, what is causing it is a whole different set of reasons as well. And you're saying this while Caitlin's here.
Oh yeah. That's what I mean. If you are with a partner and you say that you love them, does that come from a sense of love is real because I subjectively feel it?
Yeah. But that subjective feeling is also based upon my biology as well.
How so?
So as far as I'm aware and as far as the knowledge that has come out that is based upon objective reasoning is based upon an evolutionary concept of mateship, and that is based from billions of years of what you're saying before, things clashing together and then becoming a system.
Yeah, but mateship, I can't say that for some reason.
Yeah.
Mateship and our current understanding of love are very different though.
Yeah.
Love goes beyond rationality. We love people.
Of course it does.
To quote Interstellar, we love people that have died that we can never be with.
It's of course it's irrational and subjective, but the causal link to what makes somebody love somebody can be objectively measured potentially. Because when we do brain scans, we can see the areas of the brain that are functioning, which gives an indication of that this is actually a function of the objective, but it actually is then perceived into a subjective manner from the person.
But it's the same with the mental health case.
Yeah.
If we have someone with schizophrenia and we analyse their brain while they're seeing hallucinations,
Yeah.
there are parts of the brain that are lighting up.
Yeah.
But it's still subjective.
Yeah. So what if actually subjectivity is actually based upon an objective reality then?
Sorry?
So what if subjectivity is actually objectivity, but it's objectivity playing out? Oh, fuck, that's getting weird. So say for example, neurons firing, an example of base biology and causing a muscle contraction, same with thoughts and feelings and all that sort of stuff. So is subjectivity just objectivity playing out?
I would have to say no.
Why?
Because subjectivity has to be related to objectivity, because if it's not objective, then it can't even be subjective.
Yeah, but it is though, like, because in your internal biology, you're playing out subjective rules based upon your objective functionings.
Okay, but if someone else can observe it, then it is objective, so it's
Yeah.
both at the same time.
Yeah.
But if something is subjective and it's playing out,
Yeah.
let's say I see that chair moving over there.
Yeah.
Subjectively, I can see it, but it isn't an objective thing playing out.
Yeah.
But to go that one step further, none of us can prove that, because we all only see what we see, and it comes back to that: if a tree falls in the forest
Yeah.
and no one's around to hear it, doesn't make a sound.
Yeah.
You know,
I don't understand that.
we all can only go by what we're seeing in our reality.
Yeah.
But on our earth, we just function by majority minority. If I'm the only one saying the chair's moving, the rest of the world says no, it's not.
Yeah.
You,
If they're not observing it with you.
yeah, your brain is malfunctioning,
Yeah.
essentially. Then
Yeah.
we would go by the view of the majority is objective, not subjective. So
Yeah.
it's not objective things playing out.
Yeah. So I don't think that's quite what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, maybe.
I think we're on a different sort of course.
But I want to jump back to because you wanted to jump back to the start of the world stuff.
That
I
sort
think
of
we
stuff.
can
Yeah.
finish.
Like I don't like to jump to conclusions because I don't like the idea of lying to myself. Because like I can't trust if let's say if I heard a voice in my head and he's claiming to be God or something like that, that's not enough for me. Because I've seen people who claim they're hearing the devil, and I've had people claiming they hear angels. I've had people claim they're hearing spirit. Like different words all over and over and over again. So like if I heard that, I wouldn't be able to actually fully believe that, because one, how is that actually any sort of proof that there is a God? And just because there's already the discussion of God doesn't mean that there is a God.
I think that's a valid argument. Like I'm not denying there is an element of belief.
Yeah.
Because when I pray, I believe that it is God's voice I'm hearing,
Yeah.
and that is subjective. And you could say it's a load of crap.
Yeah. Or I could say, well, why not something else? What if it's just
What if it's
you talking to
and
you?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's very valid. I think the reason that I attribute it to God is because my belief in God, like I explained before, comes back to an objective belief.
Yeah.
And obviously this is all my opinion, but because I believe in God, and that to me, it's subjective that God speaks to me, but I can choose to believe that, because to me, it makes more sense rationally to believe that God exists than to believe that he doesn't exist. And because that to me makes more sense, then I can choose to believe something that is subjective that others might call crap.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Okay. So does it also give you some sort of comfort that there is a God?
Yeah, absolutely.
How would you feel if there wasn't one?
I've thought about this quite a bit.
Yeah.
I would feel very purposeless, and I struggle with mental health myself. So, to think things like, why am I here? Would it matter if I wasn't here?
Yeah.
Do I have a purpose in life? I really would just get to a dead end if I didn't believe in God.
Yeah.
And so it's comforting to be able to wake up and know I was put here with a purpose. I didn't accidentally get created. I was designed by intelligent design, and that helps me a lot.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. I'll just ask that because that's what Nietzsche was trying to point out as well.
Yeah.
You just basically explain everything he was concerned about.
I'd have to agree with his point. We don't have much to live for if there isn't.
Yeah. Or you would have to find some other meaning. Like for him, his purpose is you find it within yourself.
Yeah.
Which is another way of tackling huge objectives, finding challenges throughout life, and trying to become the Superman, like the Ubermensch, all that sort of stuff. Not like the Nazi sort of shit. But so this is why whenever I discuss with people the religion, it's very difficult to. I'm not trying to change their mind, but trying to.
No, it's good to chat.
Trying to rationalize it out, because it's actually quite difficult to think that like you actually can't prove anything about that reality, which is the toughest part.
Yeah. I couldn't stand outside and say to you, like, oh, there's God, like, you can see him, but I can never objectively prove. But, looking at nature, I would say the fact that it all works together so harmoniously, that there's so much thought behind everything, that the trees release oxygen and then they take back in the carbon dioxide, and the cycle of the seasons, like every part of nature, the diversity, the beauty, so much of it is just above something that could possibly be an accident. That's what
Yeah.
I would point to in
Yeah.
the argument, rather than he's right there.
Yeah, well, you could also pose hundreds and thousands of different arguments how the universe exists. Doesn't necessarily mean they're true at all.
Yeah.
Like, because it could be by mistake, could be by creation, could be by this. The only way you will know is if there actually is some sort of like definite prover, which would be like an IT guy at Odessa who just made us into a computer program, or like we're in the Matrix or some shit. Like
The
that,
Matrix.
you know.
Think about that yesterday.
But yeah, so like that's interesting a lot, like, because you have very similar responses to most other people I talk to as well.
There you go.
It's always kind of like, I've got a feeling it's down to, well, of course, environment, upbringing and all that sort of stuff, and also the some people, it's quite difficult to think about a world without purpose, well, without the interpretation of purpose. But like, because you can have purpose in a meaningless life.
Yeah.
Because objectively your existence is meaningless, but subjectively to you it has all the meaning ever. And that's where people can find value in it.
Yeah?
Yeah, because like you have one shot, you know who you are, you're alert, you're orientated, you know what the fuck you're doing. Let's tackle this bitch. I've only got one shot. Like, that's that interpretation as well.
Yeah, but there's no sense of objective morality, which is another challenge. Encounter, you know.
Morality.
Just talking about the Nazis, that was their one shot. They actually, you know, believed that they were in line with, you know, Dawkins and not Dawkins, Charles Darwin.
Yeah.
Dawkins comes later. On the origin of species, you know, that social Darwinism.
Yeah.
They thought they were acting objectively, morally correct, and were doing something that was good. They were giving it their one shot, and so, yeah, I would argue that without a God, you can really claim that anything is okay to do.
You definitely could. And if there's a meaningless existence, doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter?
Objectively, it doesn't matter. Like, outside of...
We all say that, but I think no one would want to live in that world where
No,
they would admit that it doesn't matter.
I don't want to live in it, but I'm just saying, outside of me, outside of you and me, it doesn't matter.
But why don't you want to live in it? Wouldn't that be correct?
No, well, then it's become subjective, because anything can be morally right and or wrong. It's based upon whoever, or the group that agree upon it.
Yeah, but
So,
wouldn't
like,
that be the fairest way to do it if there's no God, to go on what the majority agrees on?
The majority agrees upon. Well, that depends. That's very subjective and meaningless. So, like, if they think it's right, it's right. If they think it's wrong, it's wrong. Like, this is subjective. Like, and that perception can change as well. Whoever decides to want to change it, it means nothing.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be fair to just let everyone do what they think is right?
What I do. Would it be fair?
Yeah.
Well, there's no fair or anything if that's the case. Like, there's no.
But you got to make some kind of fair if we want to have a functioning society.
That's if you want to have a functioning society.
Do you want to have a functioning society?
I don't know. I'd love to. It's quite nice. It's quite nice having a laptop.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm just saying that, like, with that world, there's nothing. It's just chaos. And, like, what if that is the way the world is? Because, like, if you look outside of, like, human systems, we've put order in everything quite well, and that helps us really, really well to be successful. But if you look out in the world, it's not as systematic. It's pretty chaotic.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's all based upon physics and
He's annoying me. Right there. Well, it's coming towards me.
Anyway, yeah, so that's why it's funky fresh, my friend.
Maddie, you talk about like everything being subjective, really.
Yeah, well, it is.
So like if everyone looks at red,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Do you think that's objective or subjective?
Well, when you try to describe red, it can be subjective, but the wavelengths that create red are objective.
How can you
so
prove
what
that?
if?
Huh?
How can you prove that?
You can prove that through methods of physics.
So that would be objective.
So here's my question
Thank
though.
you.
If God were to jump out of the sky
Mm-hmm.
and say, "Hey, I'm God,"
Yeah.
and we all have our own bodies and our own interpretation and everything like that, we're all to look at God.
Yeah.
Would you say he's objective or still subjective? Because
Well,
it sounds like you would still say he's subjective.
I probably would say still, because I can jump out of the sky and claim I'm God.
So
Can
then
you?
how do you...
I could figure
out
out.
Yeah, pretty hard.
God in that instance would
Callum
need,
speaking! Yay!
Yeah.
God in that instance would need to do something to prove that they
He is
are God.
God, yeah.
Coming
And
out of
it
the sky wouldn't
And
be
it
enough.
needs to be something universally approved by everyone. It can't be
This is-
creating a tree,
Yeah.
because technology can do that.
Yeah.
This is my...
A
this is kind
3D
of...
tree, but
This is kind of my question though.
Yeah.
So you would maybe then say it's subjective, but like, who are you to say that it would be subjective and not objective? Because if he was the top tier
Yeah.
and created everyone else,
Yeah.
and he's doing it in the ways that you understand, which are weight, measure, whatever you want, and you'd still call it subjective.
Mm.
Like, I don't know, wouldn't you come to a point where you'd realise, oh, I am the lesser being,
Yeah.
and I am measuring it, and everyone's seeing the same thing?
Yeah.
Maybe it has to be objective. You know, it still sounds like no matter what there would be,
Yeah.
maybe your comfort is like subjective. I don't know.
I'm not comforted by it. I hate the fact that I don't.
No,
we don't
comfort
know.
isn't like.
I'm not very comforted by anything.
But like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like when you hear the answer subjective, subjective, subjective over and over again,
Yeah.
and it's like, well,
Because that's all we have. Like, if you want to talk about spirituality and all that sort of stuff,
Yeah.
it's all just made up in our heads.
yeah.
But so with what you said about red and the colour, you'd say because of the you look so bored.
I'm listening.
Okay.
That's right.
Okay. You were just like with the wavelengths. So you would say because we can measure that scientifically,
Yeah.
that is objective.
Hmm.
But what we're using to measure it with is stuff that we have come up with from our own brains, which are apparently the result of random, chaotic occurrences.
Mm.
And so for us to say, us beings that haven't come from purpose or design have created a machine to say this, how can we say that that's objective? It's just coming from our brains that we've made a machine and we've decided that. How can that be objective?
Yeah, it's kind of a loop.
Can you say that again for me?
So, let's say human beings evolved from animals
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
essentially kept evolving purely for survival.
Yeah.
That was the main factor.
Yeah.
How can we trust that the brains we have,
Mm.
they've created a machine, it's decided this is read according to these numbers and wavelengths.
Yeah.
How can we trust that when we haven't come from anything intelligent? We haven't been designed. Our brain isn't like a computer. You know, when we design a computer, we design it to make sense and be rational, but that's not what happened with our brains.
Yeah.
They came about accidentally
Yeah.
and evolved purely for survival. When we study science and create, the laws of,
Yeah.
gravity and physics and that,
Yeah.
how can we say that that's subjective when we've just made it up?
We just made it up. Well,
It's to better understand things.
yeah.
It's like when people in the Renaissance were looking into the stars and trying to figure out what it could all mean.
Yeah.
It's just building blocks till we can get to the point where we can all figure out it to better extents. Well, like they built the Hubble telescope to look further into the universe. It's all built upon older generations' knowledge of what they had at the time. So I
Yeah.
suppose in that regard, it's just
Yeah.
the legacies of everyone and just
Yeah.
building knowledge.
She's trying to use this argument as justification for there being an intelligent design. Is that what you're basically trying to say
Well,
in those words?
I'm more saying if there weren't intelligent design, how can we trust all the generations and people who have come before us? Because our brains aren't a rational computer. In that case, they would
Yeah.
be the product of accidental evolutionary processes purely designed for survival, not to understand the bigger picture. Why would we want to understand the bigger picture when we are designed for survival? Well, not designed, somehow happened for survival.
What's I can't think of it. Anomaly. I believe that would all come from anomalies, because if you're going with the whole survival thing that
Well, that's the atheist
organisms and
argument.
shit like that.
We've
Sorry?
evolved, that's
Yeah.
the atheist argument. We've evolved, and the ones that have survived were the strongest.
Yeah. But they're only arguing about that because they're trying to come from a scientific standpoint. That's the only reason why they come to that. Like, and a lot of people are very rude when they're atheists. But, like, that's the only reason why they come to those conclusions, because this is as much as we know so far,
Yeah.
and that's all we can go off. And
Which
that's
is-
as much as we can tell.
Yeah, and that's the same standpoint of those before them as well.
Yeah.
Once more information comes, that people adjust their perspectives on life.
Yeah. And because most objective, what we call objective methods, are repeatable and testable over and over and over and over and over again. And you can just do that over and over and over again and still get the same result. That's generally what.
Do you mean with like the colour spectrum and that? Going
Yeah,
back to like an
yeah,
actual example.
Yeah. So like that's the reason why we consider it objective, is because it's solid.
So always getting the same result. That
Yeah.
would be your.
That'd be the same same as objective, like determining.
But if something's broken and it keeps, I'm not saying it's broken,
Yeah.
but if it were, and it kept getting the same result, like if you are learning maths, you're in high
Yeah.
school, right? and the teacher tells you the radius is pi squared,
Yeah.
and you mishear it and you think it's pi cubed.
Yeah.
If you use pi cubed every time you want to get a radius, you know, you'll keep getting the same answer that's exactly a certain amount wrong.
Yeah.
And so it's consistent,
Yeah.
but it's wrong. So I would argue consistency isn't good enough.
Consistency isn't good enough.
Yeah. You can consistently be
It's
wrong.
not really consistency like in the world of math. It's consistent in the world of like objectivity, like the weight. So like let's say
Weight is maths, physics is maths.
it is for sure, but like when you're saying in that example of the squared, like you'd see like let's say if you're trying to measure an object, squared and cubed.
What? No, this is a great conversation.
No, it's
Keep
really
going.
good. You
Keep
you
going.
talk about like maths and all that, and I was just like, oh, I'm gone. I'm like, I know nothing about this. I'm switching. I'm going. Woo.
Cubed and squared. Aren't cubed and squared the same?
They're both square shaped.
No, they're both cube shaped.
Well, squares aren't cube shaped.
Or
Cubes
are
are
they?
square shaped, just 6 squares.
It's a 3D square, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank fuck. I was so worried. I took a dive with that one. Oh, if I got that wrong,
A
I'm
cube
a
is
little
a 3D
stupid right now.
But now I've lost my train of thought. But
It's okay. Like let's say for example you wanted to find like just one of those boards there. You wanted to find the area of the board.
Okay.
You can actually sit there and make up a metric.
Yeah.
And actually determine what its bounds are, like its area, its size. And you can do that over and over again with the same metric and it'll come up with the same answer, and that's consistently the same size.
Yeah, and if you want to come up with the metric for that board,
Yeah.
you come up with one that's wrong, and you keep doing the wrong equation over and over, you'll still get the
How's
same
it
number.
wrong with the same area though?
Because you, instead of timesing length by width,
Yeah.
you get the wrong metric and you're like, oh, I think it's width plus width.
Yeah.
You do that over and over again with the same size, you're going to
Yeah.
get the same
Well,
number.
then they are wrong.
But it's consistent.
But still, like that is still, well, as far as I'm aware, has the same area regardless of like.
That's
what
my
you
point,
numbers
as far as
say.
you're aware. It's
Yes,
objective.
Yeah, I know, but
that's a
like-
perspective thing as well.
No, well, because what we consider objective is based upon what we measure and feel. Sorry, keep going.
Sorry,
No,
no.
I made a mistake. I'm sorry.
It's just, I saw it in
I was
your
like-
eyes as soon as you spoke.
I was-
You're like, no, what else?
Yeah.
What you're saying is what I'm thinking. I can't
Eloquently? You can't eloquently articulate it?
Yeah, I can't articulate it.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Gotta
I
study
get it.
linguistics.
I get what you're saying because you're saying that the inconsistency is consistent, and then Matt's being like, well, yeah,
You're
but they're
saying
wrong.
consistency is
Yeah.
evidence for objectivity, and
Yeah.
I'm saying you can be consistently wrong, so no.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you can be wrong,
Yep.
but like that doesn't mean that
Be
that objective
consistent
reality
at
isn't
Why not?
the case. Huh? Why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Give me a good
Not
argument.
the
What's
case.
this about? What? This was all led to something. What was it? What were
We
we?
were talking about like the casting couch when it all started.
No, I meant this.
No, you know
this
what?
specific
I wanna-
math bit.
Like
What was this
Because-
to answer?
this is the answer, like
Because-
because I stated that things are repeatable and testable, and that's why they're objectively true.
I'm back on
and
it.
she's claiming
I'm
that what
back.
if the numbers are wrong and therefore then they are wrong.
Something can be
I got a hard
repeatable
reset.
and not objectively true.
Keeping up.
But
Yep.
to
Like,
change topic a
try
bit,
it.
I want to hear your thoughts
No, you don't.
on the start
No,
of the
I'm,
world.
I'm trying.
You can
hold
say
that,
you're
I'm
agnostic.
I'm trying to. I'm
not
trying to.
agnostic.
I'm trying to answer a
Well,
question
then what is
as
it?
well.
No,
Just
don't, I don't want to talk about me right now. You keep doing your math
come
shit.
back to it.
Do you shit?
Maddie has a
I want to try and learn math.
So when
This
you're
is-
saying that
this is nice.
example of like somebody using the wrong formula to determine something,
Yeah.
are you talking about that just one individual or a whole group of people as an example?
I didn't have in mind how many.
So you're saying like everyone in the scientific field, everyone that's made like from like hundreds of years of working towards something that is the philosophy of science is wrong based upon their philosophy and their measurements.
I'm not saying that they are wrong, and I'm not saying that our scientific, so the way that we measure things
Yeah.
in life, like scientists, I'm not saying that any of that's wrong. I actually believe it's right.
Yeah.
What I'm arguing is we can't prove that it's right.
That we can't
ju-
we can like as in we can't prove it as right as in it being an existing entity, or as in it, what do you mean? Or as it being an objective reality?
As an objective reality, because we're like each scientist is going by his subjective experience, and
Yeah.
it works for all of them, but we can't prove that it's objectively correct.
In like the physics world, like what we're seeing right now from like space time movement or like, you know, and all that sort of shit. That's a very good word. Like this is probably the most the closest thing I can give for an example of a solidified thing that does need subjectivity.
Like, let's say something like a ball being thrown. It is going to move from one place to another. And that's objectively true regardless of who sees it.
Is it?
Is it? Well, then now this becomes a thing of like, is reality real as well?
Existentialism. Told you I wanted to get there.
Yeah. But as far as that we know, like blah blah blah, this is this. So for me personally, if we're going through like a personal sort of interpretation, I'm not leading to any conclusions because all I know is that it is what it is and that I can't do much about it.
Is it correct to say?
Everyone's like, yes.
I really need a pee.
Is it correct to say that most of your maybe beliefs revolve around what you can see with your eyes?
No.
No.
I can't even trust that.
Okay.
But you just said before the opposite.
Like I said, like as far as I can trust is this, but like I still don't even trust that.
No, you said that
The
you
objectivity.
like wouldn't believe in things that are, or at the moment don't,
Yeah.
that cannot be objectively measured.
Yeah.
And so that's how we got talking about love and
Yeah.
concepts and things that might breach rationality.
Yeah.
Even though I would disagree they stem from nature, but that's another topic.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you were saying you believe in things that are objective, but now you're saying you can't even trust objectivity.
I believe in things that are objective as far. Because
So
if that makes sense.
Is that
No.
objectivity?
Well, I'm not
is that mostly from the sense of sight?
From sight, it's
No, because you said you believed in love because you could feel it.
to a degree, yeah. I can feel love, yeah. I feel love. That's right.
But what's the to a degree or so far? Well.
No, I do believe, like, there is definitely a sensation of love, yeah.
And is that your basis for believing it?
As in, like, the objective reality that, like, we think we live in.
Is that your basis for trusting, one, that love exists, and two, that you feel it towards Caitlin?
Well, I'm going to claim I'm not certain, I haven't looked into it.
Okay.
But it's, as far as I know, that, like, there can be a somewhat objective reasoning why we love. And, like, and that's, like, I don't know if that's as sufficient as thus far, because I can't prove or disprove it either. And if it is a metric that is measurable and tested over and over again, so there's layers to this. I can only believe that evidence based upon its testability and its repeatability, and I can't even trust my own reality. So there's this whole like line of like logic that will break down because like we're not just discussing about, we're talking about existence, which is, it makes no fucking sense, really.
Yeah, that's a very general statement. What do you mean?
Because like I can state I can only trust the objective reality, and then I'll say something like, thus far, like I can only trust what I has been measured and tested thus far until it's disproven otherwise, because all I can go by is based upon what is measurable, all that sort of stuff. Like I was saying earlier, that's as far as I can trust. And even then, there's this other thought of me saying it is fucking weird that we exist. It's weird that like if I did come from nothingness, all of a sudden I've got this idea of consciousness, I'm self-aware, or I think I'm self-aware, and that's how my plays into this.
Yeah. I would argue if you think you're self-aware, then you're self-aware.
Yeah. Well, you could argue that. That was Rene Descartes.
Yeah,
like,
I was literally.
That's where I am.
Yeah.
And that's why it's like, and that's why there's a lot of those.
I think I'm humble.
Yeah. And that's why it's very difficult to get if you want to talk about like ultimate existence, the reason why we're here. Like all I can discuss is how things work in the now. I can't discuss why things are. I can discuss how things work.
Yeah.
And then there's why things work.
Yeah.
They're two different questions.
And
if that makes sense, because that's why the contradictions. Because like one, I'm asking, I can understand how the things work based upon objective measurement, but why things work, I can't answer, and I'm not going to answer them because I'm not going to claim I know the truth because I don't.
Yeah.
I think it's still something interesting to look into though, the whole sight thing.
Yeah.
'Cause it's like how much.
It's not my sight. I'm trusting.
But how much does our sense of sight play a role into what we believe?
Probably heaps.
I reckon it's
Heaps.
way more than.
And how much does our own biases convince us into things we believe?
Yeah.
Because I feel like deep down in everyone's heart they want to have some sort of belief of somebody external.
Yeah.
You reckon?
I do, because I feel like I think every time I discuss with people who are not religious, who are they're relatively quite directionless and they have no idea how to, and I've talked to many people who don't talk about existentialism, who are not philosophers, and this could be me being wrong altogether as well.
Yeah. Some people think about it less and aren't as concerned.
And when you talk about it, like, to them, that's when things get a bit weird, because then all of a sudden everything they've worked towards is just nothingness, and they can't handle that.
Is this a silly question, but is that longing biological as well?
Could be.
Is that longing desire?
That's not a silly question. People would argue very different things on that. Some people would say that is socially constructed and we're raised into it. You and I both grew up in families that were religious.
Yeah.
So we would, nurture-wise, be biased towards believing it.
Yeah.
But I would argue...
In longing.
Yeah, the longing,
Yeah.
longing for it and being more open to it because we were surrounded with it.
Yeah.
I would argue that it is not biological in like a physical, you could find it somewhere sense, but that it is within us in a spiritual sense,
Again,
being
one of those
created by a creator.
like love, one of those.
Yeah, like I believe that we love because God is love. Origin, I believe we long for more because He created us to long for more.
Yeah.
So that would be my rationale for those things.
Yeah.
I think I really like, hello again, I really like this side of the conversation because I like how it started with Matt interviewing Courtney, and you said that you've heard a lot of these answers before, and then it kind of turned to Courtney interviewing you, which I think maybe your answers are a little less common, or that they're just less spoken about because your answers are kind of questions, not answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then, so I think it was really interesting hearing a lot of your opinion. But now it's kind of gotten to that place of everyone just has questions, and
that's why I want to hear Callan's thoughts.
I guess it's a bit more about feelings now.
I've known you.
I'm gonna
quite
pee
a
and make
while.
a toasty. Is that alright?
Yeah, sure. Break?
I've got work in like a few.
Yeah,
minutes.
do it.
Yeah, you guys go do what you have to do.
No, I want to hear your thoughts because.
Oh, but also, did that make sense when I was saying about the how and the why and why
Yeah.
I kind of contradict?
Yeah.
Anyway.
What's the question?
Just what are your thoughts on existence, on how we were created, on whether there's a God or not?
I don't know. I lean more towards the whole concept of something or someone did cause the initial spark that created everything we know. But I don't believe that they have intervened in a way that would swayed us to do certain things and stuff like that. I think we were created to do and live our lives how we want to live them, but still have that sort of overview of how life is in this universe, this world that we live in. I think that it's not more sort of a guide, more of like just checking it, seeing how things are. In terms of faith, I went to church a couple of times when I was younger, and then I went to church, to your church, a couple of times, and it was good. It was good. I enjoyed it. But then after a while, things started to just not sit well with me. I didn't like, not to be mean or anything like that, but just I didn't feel comfortable being at church because I felt people were very fake towards me. I felt uncomfortable every second that I was there. I enjoyed, singing
High five lady.
Yeah, the high five lady. She there were genuine people, but they were few and far between because it felt more like a sales pitch. So now, where I'm at in my life, I can't support organised religion. I can't do that just because church and that just doesn't sit right with me anymore. But I have my faith. I have my own personal beliefs in that, and I do believe there is a God. I do believe there is a heaven or an afterlife of some sort. I just don't believe that God intervenes or has any effect in anyone's life. I believe that when our existence was created, it was to just create life, let life live, to do what it wants to do.
To just flow into a natural course.
And morality and all that sort of stuff, I feel like that's evolution of what we are today. We're just hunter-gatherers and shit. We're Neanderthals and all that. It's evolved. Like, love has evolved. And now we're here at this point in time where we have relationships. We have relationships. we have complexities in everyday life that has evolved and made us rethink how we see things, question our existence and shit like that. And I believe that if a God were to be sort of a biblical one, the stereotypical, picking points to intervene, like helping Moses, for example.
Oh, right.
Yeah, not like being like, fuck you, you don't get your Cheetos or whatever, like that, but like helping in big ways like that. I feel like that existence would be more worrisome. I feel like people would be worried way more about doing something and then worrying about God intervening. Because then it's not really your life. It's their life and they can play with you how they want.
Yeah.
That's a very dark way of looking at it, but I just feel like life is ours to live. It's not for them to dictate how we should live. And then at the end, when wherever you go, the good and the bad, that's the end result. That's your checklist of how things went. Kind soul.
I would agree with a couple of things you said. One is people at church being fake. I 100% see
fake
that.
nice. I've seen that all the time.
It's in every church.
Not even fake nice. It's just it's fake.
Yeah.
They're very plastic. They're salesmen. They want you to come back. They want you to contribute. They want you to be a part of the community. Because as the community grows, then it gets more people into the community. It puts money into the community, and they can afford to do things for that community to make it like a private club.
Yeah.
Right. And then they can convince you of however they want to put across things. Like what you were saying about how different places have different perspectives on things. And then some people who, like, if you get someone who's really troubled and they go to that place and they find that this is their family, this is their way of life. If they then go somewhere else and it deviates from what they said, that will really upset them. And I worry about that kind of thing when people they get sort of not preyed upon. I don't want to use the word preyed upon because church is nice, but it's the people that I have the issue with. When I went to church with you, for example, there was a couple of people who were really just trying to put across their stuff, their beliefs and stuff, and not really asking about me.
Yeah, 100%.
And I worry about the people who are troubled and worried who come through there, and then they're vulnerable. Yeah. That's that's one of the main things I worry about with organized religion. That and
the vulnerable.
Yeah. And it's just like the money side as well.
We actually had a. Well, I'm not going to say any names, but there's an instance where a person with a mental illness gave away everything to the church.
Yep.
And that's because he's psychologically convinced himself that is the good thing to do. He gave away everything where he couldn't live anymore.
Yeah. I have a few friends who grew up in cults and were so vulnerable. You grow up being taught that this is right, that you can't do this, you can do this, and it's pretty...
This is nice.
It's yeah, it's
nice. It's lovely.
I think it's quite evil, to be honest.
Yeah.
Churches can be somewhere that is an abuse of power, that is manipulative, and I would fully agree that it's awful when that happens, and that there can be vulnerable people who need somewhere to belong or something to believe in, and get caught up in a movement run by people, about people, for people. So I believe that the church should be for other people, always looking outward and seeking to do work in the community to benefit other people, not for something in return.
That's
that we are giving because God gave to us, that we are loving and generous because He was like that to us, not so that we can grow our little club or have more money for our things. So I would agree with that. You're spot on the money that happens a lot. And with the people talking to you, when I visited this other denomination that my friend brought me to, I was literally in the bathroom and about to go in, and this lady just come out and she asked me where I was visiting from. I mentioned I'm from another Christian denomination. She already is on with a Bible verse that's one that's quite contentious between our denominations, and is like, well, what do you make of this? Because most people you know, in those churches don't have an answer for it, whereas and I was like, dude, let me pee. Like, I'm a visitor here, like, why are you trying to argue a point?
Yeah. Why do you have to be contentious?
Yeah.
This is like a totally different conversation, but I guess it is a really hard thing to balance when you're trying to like stretch your hands outwards to people, but all point to one thing. It's like this really weird dynamic, and so you can see how so much goes wrong.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna put my brain out there now.
Shoot.
Because like
We love your brain.
I have the issue with
You like your brain.
with the thank you.
I like your brain.
Encapsulated by
Subjectively, love your brain.
Thank you.
We can't prove that it's worthy of loving.
Like the whole denomination thing. Like, let's say we take away the titles of Christian, Catholic, all that sort of stuff. If God is God, doesn't matter what denomination you are. He's God. That's it. It is what it is.
Yeah.
Like, your interpretation is going to be differing from everyone else, but ultimately, He is what He is. It doesn't matter like what verse you read or whatever. God is God in the end, and that's it. There shouldn't be about an argument of like, is this right or is this wrong about God? He is what He is, and if the truth about God is real, that is it. There's nothing else to argue about. God is God. That's how I see it anyway.
Yeah.
Because that's why, because like there's many titles in different like religions and sect, like, and that's why I like when you have these denominations arguing about little things about like this. It's like, aren't you just there to believe, like to worship your Creator? Who cares about the words? He is what He is.
A non-Christian is saying this. Preach it, man. Honestly,
brother.
every person who calls himself a Christian in the world needs to keep that in mind, that we should be not there to push something on someone, but like what Callan said, actually caring about the other person.
Love this corner. I'm learning so much.
Like, if someone comes to the church that I go to, I want to try and get to know them without this, sinister agenda.
Yeah.
And obviously, as someone who believes that it is the truth that God exists and that there is salvation, heaven and hell, and all the core doctrinal areas, I would want that person to believe it, because I think that it is in every way their best interest. But I want to get to know them, and not just be like, yeah, shut up about you, let me preach at you.
Yeah.
So
He later, let me preach.
yeah, because people matter, and I can claim to be any kind of religious person, but if I'm not loving other people, to me I would be a hypocrite, because my Bible says to love others.
Yeah.
And if I'm going out there trying to convert everyone, not caring about them, not being compassionate, not helping the person who I see who needs help, not treating my friends right, then I'm lying to myself and to everyone else.
Yeah.
People treating it like filling up a quota.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like, if you're doing that for that reason, I think you've really lost sight of what your whole religion is about.
Yeah.
And the Bible says that as well. Like, one of my favourite songs is based off of the verse that says, like, if I can't remember the specific things, but it's like, if I do all the greatest things, if I were to preach to the world and see all these amazing things happen, but do not have love, I am nothing. Do you remember where in the Bible that says that? I think it's in John, maybe. Maybe Paul said it, so I have no idea. It's in the New Testament. But yeah, it's like, if I do all these amazing things, if I can speak the languages that angels speak, but don't have love, I'm nothing. And I would say that that's probably one of the core verses that I would incorporate into my faith, is that I can argue till the cows come home about philosophy and creation and existentialism, but if I'm going to be a dick about it, ignore everything I'm saying, because it's not worth it if I don't at least care for the people around me. I guess we can probably all agree on that.
that's
We
for
should
sure.
be kind.
Of course, be kind to one another. I don't like mean
Be
people.
kind to one another, and then we give out Ellen DeGeneres.
No.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of hypocrites.
Everyone's cancelled. Don't talk about Ellen no more.
Well, I'm parodying it.
When was she?
Cancelled.
How long do these normally go for?
Oh,
Quite a long
well,
time.
well, we usually go for 40 minutes, but we're going for quite a while.
Ooh.
Yeah, but a lot of that was shit talk.
Yes.
I love the shit talk part. It was great.
I'd like to bring something up.
We're gonna bring up.
Last week. Wait. Yeah. This time last week, Test Tuesday. Today is Tuesday.
Yes,
Yep.
it is.
This time last week, I was at a funeral.
Oh.
Sorry.
That's right.
You got a bit of fluff in your hair, come.
Fuck yeah. Bit of fluff. Went to a funeral. It was my great grandmother.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. So she's off now.
How old is she?
She was 18.
18.
No, 80.
80
She
something.
was, she was getting close to 90. She was 87, I believe.
You meant she was 80. And I was like, your
87
great
is a...
grandmother was 80?
Yeah, no,
She'll have kids at 60.
80. Well, yes, the whole family did that. So she
Wow.
was, I believe, 87. She was getting close to 90.
Yeah.
Yeah, she was getting close.
Sounds great.
And then she passed away. And then I went to the funeral to support my grandmother,
Mm.
Mama.
Yep.
I didn't have a great deal to do with my great grandmother. No, that's just grandma. Yeah. Not Mama. Mama's really good.
Oh, who's the racist?
Nana is good. Nana is good.
Don't say the R words.
Nana is good.
Anyway, so
Mama
you wanted
is
to
good?
support
Yeah.
them.
So Mama's mother, Nana,
Don't remember what that's
or Nana, whatever. She passed away. I went there to support Mama because obviously it's I love my mama, right?
Yeah.
Didn't have much to do with the great Nana, but she was. I never had anything bad happen to me with her, right? There were some issues with the family with her as they were growing up, and then after Pop died. But the thing that I saw there was, despite the animosity that some people had, despite the way that my great Nana treated some people, she still had quite a big turnout. Quite a big turnout, and people were actively upset that she had died.
Mm.
Like I said, I didn't have anything bad happen with her. She was fine. We hung out a couple of times when I was younger. But it was just incredible to me that I saw this side of things, because I'd never been to a funeral before where I had this backstory of such negativity with this person. It's still such a big turn. And I suppose the thing that I'd like to bring up is, at what point in people's lives do you forgive someone for the bad things they've done? If that happened to you, if someone had done something pretty terrible to you, would you go to the funeral?
Yeah.
You'd still go to the funeral?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
And why is that? Is that just because of the forgiveness side of it? Because they're gone now, it doesn't matter. You can just let it all go.
No, that would come down to my upbringing,
Mm.
which is Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Have you experienced any funerals like that before, or
Funerals like that?
like that instance of like having a bit of a backstory of understanding something?
No, I haven't. But yeah. It's hard to say because they're already gone.
Mm.
So you attending doesn't really change anything. I guess it's the whole pay and respect thing, but that might not matter to you if forgiveness doesn't matter to you.
Mm.
But forgiveness is a really large part of Christianity, my upbringing. So that would be an outward action of respect, and respect would come, I guess, with the forgiveness.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah, but a lot of people wouldn't, but it's really just because forgiveness is such a core part of Christianity.
Yeah.
What do you think?
About showing up.
Well, yeah, both of you.
If I didn't like the person. That's what you're saying.
It's not that you didn't. It's more like
I liked the question. At what point in
yeah.
someone's life?
Like, is it because they're dead, or is it people fighting with themselves to just let that anger go at some stage, and then being like, I should be there for them once they go into it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, I don't go to funerals for the dead person, I go for the funerals for everybody else.
It's a quote from The Fault in Our Stars.
Is it? Fuck.
What does she say? I came to the conclusion that funerals aren't for the dead. Funerals are for the living.
Yeah. So I only go there for them.
To quote a
'cause-
philosopher.
John Reed. John Reed.
Yeah, because they're dead. I can't do much for the dead, but I can do a lot for the living and be there for them, and that's basically all I can do. So there's that some aspects of paying respects,
Yeah.
but mainly you go there for everybody else.
Yeah.
From the
Yeah.
little that I caught in on, it sounds like we're talking about why you say all the great stuff about people and that, and forget the bad stuff when they die.
Oh, you're not really forgetting. You're forgiving them.
Yeah.
Like, you know this person for however long you know them. In my instance, it was my great grandmother. She had a relationship with a whole bunch of people in her life. She had families and shit like that. But at certain points in her life, she made a bad decision. She hurt people. Just like a handful, and then that spread out to then their opinion on this person because of what they did to that person. That sort of thing.
Do you think that was like an apology or a turning point in her life? Because I do hear often that a lot of older people kind of go through this transformation when they're nearing the end of their life and become very, like, a lot softer.
She didn't.
She didn't?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. Because when it got time for that, like end of life stuff, she was on a lot of the medication, so she was just out of it. It was very unfortunate.
Wow.
But yeah, it's more so that letting go of, despite how long that would have been going on for my mama, it was her whole life. She just, for some reason, her and her mum didn't get along all that well. But mama always did whatever she could for her.
Yeah.
And I don't know, people seeing how mama was treated they'd feel like obviously terrible for her, but they'd like, why wouldn't she speak up and all that sort of stuff? But she still, obviously because it was her mum, she still found it within herself to just forgive her for that. But that's their relationship. It's more so of those ones who spiraled out and then were like the leftover residual sort of shittiness of what happened. If that happened to you, could you find it within yourself to let go? And at like what point does that come? Like how long does it take?
Yeah.
I guess is
So you
what I was
missed my answer, but I said, a core doctrine of Christianity is forgiveness. It's like, it's what it's all about. We
Yeah.
say that about everything, but that's what it's all about.
Christians with every topic, it's what it's all about.
Yeah, right? So I said that for myself,
Yeah.
I would attend the funeral, but that would be
Yeah.
just a physical action after I would
Yeah.
forgive them. I said it's also a little separate because it's about respect for the life.
Yeah.
But I said yes because of upbringing, I think. But maybe someone who wasn't brought up in a house where forgiveness is like the main thing, maybe they wouldn't. But
Yeah.
that was just my answer.
A lot of it would come back to what's been modelled to you.
Yeah.
Did your family, is it a small family who you're not really in contact with, extended family, because, maybe it's easier that way, and so you've sort of been modelled something of, distance yourself from the problem, or is it maybe a bigger family filled with conflict, and it's like, we just talk it out, like what I'm feeling and thinking, I'll say to you, or or you're quiet about it. It could be a lot of things that people are modelled by what their parents do. But I would say, like, it's hard for me to answer because I haven't been in a situation and I don't know what your mum experienced. So it'd be hard for me to say, I'd like to be like, I would forgive, I'm a good Christian girl, I would just forgive, but I, haven't been hurt in that way. If I were struggling to forgive, I would remind myself of, there's this story, and it goes, there was this man, he lived in a kingdom, he was just an ordinary man, and he was in a lot of debt to the emperor. He was in like millions of dollars of debt, and they bring him, because he hasn't paid it by the state, and they drag him in, and he's like pleading and begging, and he's like, please, like, have mercy on me, I've got this and that, I've got all these, reasons, and he's just saying like, and the emperor's like, why shouldn't I chuck you in jail? Like, you'll never be able to pay this back. And he has nothing left, so he just begs. Emperor forgives him. He says, all right, you know what? I'm going to show mercy. You don't have to pay $1 of it back. That man leaves, walks down the street, sees someone who owes him $300, grabs him by the throat, and is like, hey, you owe me money. Pay it back, man. I need this right now. And just, comes onto the guy and attacks him. Now, that is a parable Jesus told. Obviously paraphrased. And it's to show us that for Christians to not forgive anyone in the world for something that they did to you is like being forgiven a huge amount. The emperor is to show how God forgives us for all our sins, is the metaphor. So we were forgiven for so much that we could never pay back that Jesus did for us. How can we not then forgive our brother or sister for something that they did that is big, but in comparison isn't as big as a lifetime full of sinning against God, turning away from God, cursing God? So that story is something that I would try to keep in the forefront of my mind when it feels like what something that someone did was unforgivable. I'm like, man, I would be like that guy who was shown mercy and then couldn't show mercy to someone else. So it's that kind of hypocritical thing. So I'd like to think that can help me forgive. I hope that made sense.
What did you think of all the people who turned up? Do you think people didn't know things?
I think people
were there for respect or forgiveness?
People loved Nana. People loved her because she had she did good for a lot of people, but it's just the people that she hurt. She really hurt. And I just remember the section of like in the middle who gets the shade sail thing at the front of the grave. That was like the children of her and the direct like grandchildren. Because I'm like a great grandchild, so I didn't get to sit there. But I saw all the other great grandchildren like me on the side, and some of them were so young, and then some of them were my age, and they were sort of similar to me, where because they'd known her longer, they saw the other side of her, and they understood she was flawed, but she did good as well. But it's just, for my side of things, she hurt Mama. So it was harder for me, I suppose. But you still, like, she's dead now. You don't get to, like...
Can't stew over it.
Yeah, you can't stew over it. You gotta, like... Towards the end, when she was, like, suffering and stuff, it's like, well, look, this is it all catching up. But it's too much, even for you. And it's not fair for anyone to have to go through what she's going through. Like, at the end, she had to, like, cut her leg off and shit like that. Wow. Yeah, like her whole life. Like she loved swimming when she was younger, and then she lost the ability to do what she loved doing.
Yeah.
So it's like, you lost that. That's pretty fucked. So then you just sort of go. You made bad decisions, but you're still a person. So
I thought you were gonna say a whole other thing.
Oh.
You're still a bitch.
still a bitch. Yeah. But like, that's really what my mother was a lot like that. She just could never find the strength within her to forgive her. But I don't know. For me, I chose forgiveness and to go there. But Mum didn't want it because she just couldn't find it within herself. And a lot with the other children too, like they couldn't go because they hated her so much. So yeah, I suppose that's where it all circles back to the point of like those people were hurt so much they couldn't find forgiveness. Are they not lesser for it, but I feel like they've missed out on an opportunity to let that anger go.
I would agree.
So now it'll just sort of sit with them.
Yeah.
Like that'll just never go away.
Yeah, I think maybe that action of not going, though you can completely empathise with it, that would almost like start to accrue more bad feelings, because the longer you get, it's like if you were to change your mind, guilt could add and things like that.
Yeah.
That's just really tough. That's a hard situation.
Yeah. Studies have been done in recent times on the health effects of forgiving, not forgiving, on being bitter or letting things go. And I think it does, like it is for you to forgive. You let go of it. And like you said, they're not feeling that release of, oh, I don't have to be consumed by this. I don't have to hold on to this. I can
she
live
brings up the objective.
in freedom.
But that's another thing as well. You can forgive
You're
someone,
welcome.
but do it for the sake of doing it. But then there's also like the ones who dig deep and let it go. Because there was a lot of like lip service of like, oh, she was a lovely lady. It's like, you didn't fucking know her. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
You fucking walked past her a couple times in your life. You're just here because of the food.
There was food at the
It
funeral.
was, yeah.
I would have gone.
Yeah. It's really nice.
I've never been to a funeral with food.
Yeah. They were like,
Oh,
would you like a sandwich? And we're like, yeah, please.
wow.
And you go,
Like Oliver Twist, the way he says,
want to have some more?
He's a tower.
Everybody got one.
I want at my funeral there to be sandwiches and like a waiter goes around offering, you know, little trays. It's not sitting out. It's all with, you know,
Oh,
with
you're
the
going to
waiter.
a funeral?
Yeah.
I'm getting thrown in the woods. I'm going to let the wolves
We
take
will
me.
see to that.
that's very
But
Tibetan of you.
Yeah.
when they come around and as soon as someone takes a bite of the food, they say, and we had ashes sprinkled through it or as per request.
The crunching, the sand in it. Oh no! You do the funeral at a beach, so people mistake it for sand originally, and then they can forgive you. Then you tell what it actually is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She requested her ashes be sprinkled through all the food. And people were like, that there was graininess in it. Ugh.
Now she's a part of you.
Do we leave it on a sad note?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks, guys. Goodbye.
Bye.
The
Bye.
hands.